Sorry, hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Real G Talk, where real G's talk about motivation, elevation, coming from humble beginnings and abundance never ending. So let's get it. Today, our topic of conversation is, guys, is going to be what is the definition of an op? And I have some amazing guests tonight that we're going to sit down and have a real live conversation about what the definition of an op is. And we're also going to talk about the gun violence that's plaguing our communities. What are some of the solutions? What are some of the causes of these things? And first, I want to give my guests their proper due by introducing them properly. First up, I'm going to bring up to the stage, guys. You guys already know him. You've seen him before on this podcast, on his webcast. It's a man that I've been associated with. I'm sorry, guys. It's a man that I've been associated with for several years. I'm talking about decades. One of the closest friends of mine. And also, guys, he is also one half of the partnership of the podcast To The Point 267 on IG, guys. They be coming with some amazing content. You guys need to go check them out. But without further ado, I want to bring my man Nasheed up to the stage, guys, and then I'm gonna bring my man Staffo up, and then we're gonna have a real live conversation tonight, guys, about what is the definition of an op. What's popping?
What's happening, man?
Ain't nothing. So I'm good, mashallah, alhamdulillah.
Well, you got 100X style for him, huh?
Yeah, I got 100X style for him, man. So listen, I'm going to bring up 100X style. Listen, this is another guy that I've been knowing, a man that's doing some major things out there, ladies and gentlemen. I want y'all to be up on it. He is the author of the book, Money is God, right? This is a major piece right here. This piece right here is a crime novel, guys. I want you to go and check that joint out. It's something tight, something that you can really sink your teeth into. And listen, let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. It gives some depictions of where we all come from. All of us are from the streets of North Philadelphia, guys. So we have license to be able to talk about what a G is and what some of these things that are going on in these streets is. He is also the owner, the CEO, and operator of Boss Media. My man, Brian Harrison, Stop from 100X. Stop, come on up here.
Hey, what's up? What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Stop. How are you?
All right. It's good. It's good to be in the building.
Good seeing you, man.
All right, back at you, bro.
So listen, guys, I'm some things went wrong over here on one of my pages. I want to make sure that they get on there, but nevertheless, we're gonna keep it pushing. All right. So
yes,
listen.
Sir.
All right.
So listen to this, guys. Listen. This is what I want to say. We have an epidemic going on in our communities, right? And I keep hearing this word as it pertains to the youngsters in our community. And that word is op, right? Now, the literal definition of that word, or the full effect of that word, is your opposition. Someone that is against you, someone that you encounter. And note this, that doesn't necessarily mean they're your enemy. That word doesn't necessarily mean, the literal definition doesn't necessarily mean that they're your enemy. That's the literal definition of it. It's just someone that opposes you, that's trying to restrict something from your movement. Say, let's talk about ball. If we're playing ball, your opposition is the other team.
Right.
Your opposition is the other team. But that doesn't mean that that team is your enemy. For that time that they're on the court, hey, maybe your friends, y'all hit the strip club afterwards, but maybe you don't. Maybe on that court right now, you don't have no talk about nothing else but that what's going on that court. So I'm thinking that's how the young people are looking at it, as these people are my opposition, and they have another word that another phrase that we used to use growing up also, right, that they put along with that, and that on site, right? So you have that word opposition. So that's your opposition, and it's on site, and that's going to lead us into what we're going to talk about later on. But here's what I want to do. I want to see what you guys understand to be the definition of an op. But here's what I'm gonna throw at you, and this is the golden nuggets for the day, right? And then I'm gonna turn it over to my guest, and we're gonna have a conversation. Golden nuggets for the day is, I'm hoping that one day these young men that are looking at their opposition as their enemy will learn to use that word OPP, or use that word OPP, and understand that that is an opportunity. Turn that word from opposition into opportunity, because now they have the opportunity to learn a lesson. And there's two types of lessons you can learn if you're looking at it from as on site. When I see my op, there's two types of lessons you can learn from that. One lesson is you can learn that, hey, I have the opportunity to walk away from this and live the rest of my life comfortably. Or I can continue on with my rhetoric and with the feelings that I have built up inside, because that's my op, and I got to do what I got to do, and it's on site with that op. Or I have the opportunity to take my ass to the penitentiary. I have the opportunity to not live the next day, or have to be watching my back all the time. So I'm looking for the young people to understand that that word opposition should be changed to let you understand that that word opposition can also be your opportunity to grow.
Right.
That's what the G is going to be for today. We're going to talk about some growth, some mental growth, right? So the opportunity and that word OPP. Now, I'm gonna turn it over to y'all, but I'm gonna say this: when we was growing up, right, we did have the on site thing jumping off. But when it was time for, when it was talking about us for OPP, that op ain't stand for what these young niggas think it stand for. You hear what I'm talking about?
Right.
That op stood for other people's, you know what, right? Right. So that's what we was on. We was on that, right? Because
naughty by nature.
Yeah, y'all. So the young kids got to catch up. They might not get this one. They might not get that. That might have went over their head. If I'm talking too fast, you need to slow. You need to listen faster. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying, guys. So listen. So give me what you gentlemen think is the definition of the word op, and how can we change the narrative on that? I'm gonna sit back.
I want Staff to lead off first.
Go ahead, Staff.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity on this podcast, on your show. This is my first time on your show, and I really appreciate the time to I really appreciate this moment to be able to get my thoughts across. Now, on your subject of the op or opportunity, or my definition of an op, it brings me back to when I was younger. You know, Ram Squad was my op. You know, we was 100X. They was Ram Squad. They was my op. But now to switch that to an opportunity, they gave me the opportunity to do a better show to them. They gave me the opportunity to do a better show than them, because it was like, all right, then who gonna rock this crowd? Because 100X had the whole Crosstown, Tiffin, Oxford. We had the whole Susquehanna Avenue, York Street, Cumberland, all that side right there. Richard Allen, they had the whole project, and we was in there together. So it was like our crowd was there, their crowd was there. Who gonna rock this show? That was a great opportunity to show the crowd who was the best. And in that time of hip hop, that era of hip hop, it was a lot of ops. The Roots was coming out. 100X was coming out. Ram Squad was coming out. Well, Major Figures was a little bit later. But what I'm saying is that it was so, Diggable Planets had came out. It was so, Jill Scott came out. Music came out. It was so many different acts that was coming out of Philadelphia during that time. It all made us sharpen our skills, because we saw the skills that the other rap groups and singing groups had, and we saw all this talent. So we could have let that op crush us and say, damn, these guys is bad, let's let them have it. Or we can let that op give us the opportunity to rise, to show people how talented we are. So my definition of op or the opportunity is exactly that. It may give you an opportunity to really show the world what you got instead of just wasting your life trying to be tough. Because right now with this whole op thing, these guys is really, they trying to be men. That's the whole set. These guys are trying to be men and they don't know how to be men. You see what I'm saying? So they think that being tough is being a man. If I kill this person, I'm being a man. If I can bully this person, I'm being a man. So they saying, yo, it's on sight because I'm more masculine than you. I can kill you, so I'm more manly than you. But really, that's a misconception. It's a big mistake. And a lot of that mistake comes from they don't have no male guidance. Just like when I was growing up, I didn't have no male guidance. That's why I got into a lot of stuff other than rap music, because I was trying to prove myself to the street, because I didn't have that male guidance. But not to go too deep and to stay on your subject of the op and the opportunity, that's my definition of the op. When comparing myself to the other music acts that was coming out of Philadelphia in that time, I chose to turn those ops, who was, I say again, 100X and Ram Squad, we was definitely two sides of the coin. I use that, them being my ops, as an opportunity to really shine at Stock 100X from Susquehanna Avenue. Hood's Barbershop.
So that was, oh wow, what happened to She? Wow, I guess he'll come back in, guys. He'll come back in. But yeah. So Stop. That was an amazing breakdown of how you change the narrative, knowing that they was your ops. And a lot of people might not know this, and I know if She come back on, he may remember this. Wait, there you go. I got it.
The sound went out on my end. I had to reconnect.
Okay. So a lot of people may not know this stuff. You may remember, but I was in that rap game for a minute, right? And me, Drag, we used to go. Ellie Square was our producer. So Ellie Square was our producer. We used to go down there. We used to lay our little tracks. It was myself, Track, a guy named Ed. We was called BOS, the Brothers of Struggle, and we used to go down. We used to go down to Ellie Square and get our tracks and things done. But we knew that you guys was top dogs, right? We knew that 100X was top dog, right? And even though we looked at you guys like that, we trying to compare to them, but we was more street level. We was more street level, and you guys was horrorcore. Y'all had different genres of music. Each person, we all was like Wu-Tang. Y'all was like Wu-Tang. Everybody had their own little specific style. But we didn't look at you guys. We looked at it as an opportunity to say, hey, damn, we want to shine. We want to shine. We got to polish up a little bit. So it did give us the opportunity to say, hey, listen, man, if we want to be on that big stage, if we want to walk the crowd, or we want to perform in front of all those people, then we need to pay attention and really learn from these jokers what it is we need to do. Because we already had everything that you need, that rappers are doing today and was doing back then. Actually, in actuality, let me keep it all the way funky with you, right? We set the standard for the rappers to be like us because we was from the streets. We set the trend for the rappers to wear the chains and the Woolridges and the super trees and those things. We set the trend.
Y'all was on the level. Y'all was on the level of like DOD from Crosstown.
Right. But let me get back to the subject. The subject at hand is, and I want Sheed to weigh in.
Right.
Dov just told us how he looked at 100 Ram Squad was their opposition, but he looked at it as an opportunity.
Right.
So Sheed, here's what I want you to do. Right. Bring me all the way home with this joint. Right.
Right.
Because you just here's what I want people to know about my man Nasheed. She is 1 year older than me. I'm 50. She 1 year older than me. Right. He got a gang of freaking kids. And them kids range in all them different ages. So Sheed's ear is always to the streets, and he got a son that's hot to death, right? In this music industry right now, right? In the rap game. So she bring it all the way home for us, right?
Right.
What's the root cause of the opposition of these young people going at each other and everybody is an op?
All right, I'm gonna be perfectly transparent, right? I'm gonna be perfectly transparent, and I'm gonna say that yeah, I'm in touch with a lot of the youth, and hold on, excuse me, they gotta wait a second. I'm in touch with a lot of the youth, and I've been in touch like I never lost touch. You feel me?
Right.
And I got sons that's in those tender ages, and you know, I got daughters them ages, so I stay in touch on purpose so I could, take a glimpse into their mindset. Because had I been like anybody else, just judging from the sidelines and on the surface, I would be having I would have my own prejudgment about it as well, right? And I don't like to do that. You feel what I'm saying? So, in a nutshell, when you said the op, what I believe a op is, definition wise, is somebody, whether blatantly or subliminally,
Your sound went out. She. Ah. See, your sound went out, bro, and the picture went off. So until she pops back in, ladies and gentlemen. So I see where she was going. When someone explicitly or implicitly opposes you, right? Or I look at it as here you go. Go ahead, she
I
elaborate.
apologize to all the viewers. This is all my fault because I failed to communicate to people that I would be busy at this time, and it's calls coming in and stuff like that.
It's all right. It's all right, bro.
But at any rate, I believe that is a force that forms against a person, whether blatantly or subliminally, right? With some type of deliberate intent. And when you go into a definition wise like that, a lot of the definition that these young bucks rocking with, it falls short of that. That's not what they rocking on, right? It's a bunch of affiliation, right? Is a bunch of wannabe culture from a bunch of privileged children. When I say privileged, when you look into a lot of these cats' backgrounds, they don't have our backgrounds legitimately. They don't, so therefore they don't have a legitimate excuse to be running around like the heathens they be running around acting like.
Right.
They may come out of homes with both mother and father in the home, working class people. They may not be being deprived. They're able to keep up far as, they're not being subject to peer pressure because they're not, they're living different than us. We come up impoverished, man. When we come up impoverished, and we appreciated any little thing we got. I believe that these children these days are different because they're being raised by parents like us who know what the struggle is, so we try to keep the struggle away from them. So I call them wannabes because when you look into a lot of the drama, it has no origin. You'll be surprised, man, that these little guys are killing and dying for little or nothing. Like you can't even put a construction on it. Where did it start? What what's the origin of the matter? Why y'all guys going to war? Why so many people dying from this corner, that corner, this hood, that hood, right? When you take it all the way back to the origin, it be petty or nothing. When we was coming up, right, most of the wars that got bloody and goofy and it was bodies dropping and all that type of stuff was about money. It was about paper. You feel what I'm saying? Not justifying it, but at least we can connect it to some type of origin. These guys is different. This situation today is way different. It's about the narrative is now being pushed at, and there's a lot of elements that I blame, and one of them is the music. Because the music then got so violent in itself, and it glorifies gang, the gang culture so much. It glorifies drug abuse so much. It glorifies the disrespect of our women so much. That's all that's being pumped and promoted, and is at the pinnacle of everybody's success. So I believe it's a bigger monster behind it as well. Right? Because these things shouldn't be the things that's charting number one, and this is the most popular things. And when you dig into it, that's all it's pumping. Drug abuse, murder, you know what I'm saying? All the goofy stuff that's plaguing our people. And sad to say, right? We also have a generation of people who has no regard, right, for their elders. So it's a major disconnect. So the things that we have to tell them, or that the messages we have to lay on them and get across, once you get to a comfort zone or a point of communication, right, you'll find that they don't even care for it. It's a I don't care mentality, and they voice it. When you try to engage in a discussion that's meaningful with one of these young bucks, you ain't gonna get past I don't care. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
It's hard to fight by that I don't care. So them putting that I don't care out is letting you really know their mindset. So it's really a bad state that we're in with our youth. It's really bad, yo. It's almost like the solution, the real solutions, is like trying to administer some medicine to a person that you know is going to cure them of their ailment, but they don't open their mouth. They don't open their mouth to ingest the medicine. They never let you give them the medicine. So you got to sit on the sideline and watch him die.
Yo,
that's what it seemed like, man.
Let me jump in real quick, because you was giving us some gems, right?
Right.
And one of the things you said was that it's a deeper rooted issue, right? you pointed to the music that's out nowadays.
Yes, sir.
Right? You pointed to the degradation of our women. You pointed to the
Drug abuse.
The drug abuse, glorifying of the drug abuse. You pointed to so many things, right? That's at the root core of that. And those things that you said cloud the judgment and makes everyone seem that that person is the opposition, right? The other person is the opposition, but here's the truth. Here's the truth. Their biggest freaking op is them freaking selves. The biggest
after the shaitan.
After the shaitan. Their biggest opposition after the shaitan is themselves.
Yep.
And listen, and that's not just for the youth. That's for us, for everyone. Your biggest opposition is yourself. Because you have to be able to fight what we call your nafs, your desires, your wants and passions. In order, you have to get control of those things in order to be a productive member of society, in order to be a productive father, in order to be a productive son, in order to be a productive uncle, in order to be a productive papa. Right? I'm talking to the men right now. Talking to the men. You have to be able to hone in and control, and have some emotional control, and understand that those things cloud your mind. Those intoxicants, those narcotics cloud your mind. Now, while we're on the subject of that, right? While we're on the subject of that, and you tied that in all together.
Right.
So we just define what an op is. What the young people see as an op, what we may presume is an op, and why the young people are taking the approach that they're taking. And the key is what they're being fed and what they're being taught.
Yep.
The machine behind it.
Exactly.
Right? The machine behind it.
Hey, let me say something on that. Let me say something about the machine on it. All right, listen. You remember when it was the East Coast, West Coast beef, the people who was really promoting that the most was the media.
Yep.
You know, people was like, no, ain't no East Coast, West Coast beef. That's a beef between Pop and Biggie. But ain't no East Coast against West Coast, and they put it on that album cut on that I think it was the
Source.
I forgot what magazine, because it was the Source magazine or Vibe magazine. They said the East Coast West Coast beef, and then they just start promoting it and start getting out of hand. And you know, that's what we got to really realize, is that, you know, the power of the media. There's a lot of power in the media, and like you were saying about the music and the impact that it's having on the youth. The gang culture. Every song you hear right now is about gang. I remember in a time when there wasn't no Bloods and Crips on the East Coast at all.
Right.
Then it was in New York. You got a little bit sprinkled over here and over there. But I remember in the 90s, wasn't no Bloods and Crips in Philadelphia. Wasn't no Bloods and Crips in New York. Everybody in Philly was just trying to get money. You might have a block. That might be your block. And your crew be on your block, and that's what y'all hold down, or y'all strip, or y'all avenue. But it wasn't no gangs like, yo, we the disciples and the Crips and the Bloods. That wasn't even going down like that, you know. But it's like that's what's being promoted on music. And sometimes I think, like, is there a master plan to help to kill us off as a generation, as a people? Is there some kind of plan to help us kill each other off through all kinds of different tools of Satan? Because you was talking about Satan, and one was music, and the other thing was drugs. And like you said, it clouds your vision. It clouds your mind, so you can't think and move the way you want to move. You know, and you touched on something else that was real dope. The way you said, the biggest war we're gonna fight as human beings is gonna be the war against ourselves.
Yep.
You know, now some people know this and some people don't. But I decided to get sober 2 years ago because I was taking perk 30s and drinking syrup and running the streets and all kinds of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like heavy, right?
Right.
And that was the war I had to fight within myself, because that was the hardest war. Before I could do anything for my family, for my children, for my mother, for anybody, I had to get myself right with myself. Because and you know what? That's the hardest thing to do because it was easier for me to say, okay, here you go, baby, here go a couple of dollars or this and that and the other. But at the end of the day, I gotta go down I gotta go down, down the strip to go ahead and cop up because I need that. And it got to the point where if I ain't have it, I got sick. Like I was on heroin or something like that.
Goofy,
you know what I'm saying? Because I was doing it so heavy.
Right.
And it's the thing, like, and when you talk about clouding your memory and it was easy for them bad ideas to come in my mind to do something crazy when I was off my square. And now that I'm on my square, I look back at some of the moves I made and say, like, I was really blessed to still be alive, driving under the influence, going places that I know they don't like me at just because I got some kind of, I'm kind of high, so I feel like ain't nobody going to touch me. But realistically, I'm just being protected by the Creator.
There you go.
But a lot of those things play into every generation, every generation. And right now, when I was coming up, getting money was the thing to do. Getting money, was the thing to do. And right now, the thing to do is to get high. To get high as you can and go kill people.
Or
That's
your
the
body,
thing to do. So it's like you don't even got to get no money. These guys is getting in trouble, and then they don't even have no lawyer money.
Go ahead, stop.
They don't even have no bail money. You know what I'm saying? I remember I had gotten in trouble, and my bail was $50,000, right? I had to give up 10%, which was $5,000. I got bailed out. Then the lawyer wanted $5,000. I gave him $5,000 to fight the case, which I beat. But guess what? To beat that case and to get out of trouble cost me $10,000. If I didn't have $10,000, I was going to do 7 years. These guys is going out and doing stuff, and they don't have no money. They just and this my grandma used to always tell me. She said, "Brian, trouble is easy to get in, hard to get out." Hard to get out. And that's when I realized that when I was spending that money and I was taking every little paycheck, every little dollar I hustled up to that lawyer, it was like, because I didn't want to go to jail. They was trying to give me 7 to 14. I didn't want to go to jail. The lawyer said he wanted $5,000. I did not want to. I did everything I could to get that man his money because trouble was easy to get into. It was just one bad night. One bad night. And then it would cost me $10,000. But if I didn't have that money, who knows where I've been right now?
Jammed up.
Yo.
Yeah, who knows where I've been right now?
Let me interject real quick because you leading us right to the point where we're going to go next, right? And I got some statistics that I'm going to share with you guys. And I want to hear what's your opinion about these statistics, right? But I just want to go back to that addiction piece, right? Because that's a major thing. I did a reel on my social media post before because I had a friend that died of a bad perk 30, right?
Talking about Popsy?
No, Popsy died. He died off of some bad.
Okay, got you.
Bad other stuff, rahimahullah, right? But I had a friend more recently, and then the actor Michael K. Williams.
Yeah.
So he passed away. So I did a reel. And I wanted to say this, and I'm going to say this out loud so all of y'all can hear it, right? Listen, young people, if you taking perks and sipping lean, you're a modern day dope fiend. Don't let nobody tell you anything different. I don't care how much designer you have on. I don't care how many racks you got in your pocket. If you taking lean and popping perks, you're a dope fiend.
That's bottom line news,
and you're hearing it from a dope fiend. I'm telling you because that's how I started. Going down J Street, going to get them Xannies and that lick, right? Because we called it lick or water back then. We ain't call it lean. We called it
USVs, cakes,
right? So popping those joints, and when that bill got too high, then guess what? I had to move to and resort to heroin.
Yep.
And it kept me stuck. And I did things in that state of addiction where I had more oppositions, right? I had more ops than I really had. I was making up ops. You follow what I'm saying? I was making up ops. Oh boy, he didn't owe me no money. He owed me some money. I'm gonna run down on it. He ain't owe me nothing. You follow what I'm saying? And then that perpetuated that lifestyle that I was living because my mind was clouded. I wasn't thinking straight. I wasn't being a good person. I wasn't being a good father because that intoxicant was taking the control of me. That intoxicant was taking the control of me. Say, it told me when to move. It has to be a strong substance for a person like myself to make me forget my Lord. That's a substance that makes you forget worshiping the Creator. Because now what you do, you worship that substance. Everything that you, like Stop just pointed out, the money, right? We was about getting money. You're getting money. That's when you start using those in substance, especially those opiates.
That's no longer priority.
That's no longer priority. Your only priority
spending money
to get that dope in you. That's the only priority, and that's dope. I don't care how you cut it. An opioid is dope. I don't care how you watch. Don't whitewash it. Don't say that. If you sipping lean or you taking the perks, that's dope. Yep. That's dope. And what it leads to is this. What we're getting to talk about now. What it leads to is a situation where when you look at our city, when you look at Philadelphia, and you look at the murder rate and the amount of gun violence in our city. And I'm a social worker, so I'm in social services. So I get to talk to some of you sometime and hear things. And I hear the things and say, man, I wouldn't have done that if I wasn't high. Man, boy was on them 30s, man, and he came up blazing. Like it become, but they're wearing it now. These things like popping perks, and because of the music industry and because of the media putting those things out there, right? They're wearing these things like a badge of honor, like it's okay to be a dope fiend.
It's crazy,
right? So let me give y'all some statistics, and we're gonna bust into this. Let's talk about this, right? Now we define what an op is. Now you know what happens when a person deems another person to be his opposition in our day and time. In today's time, not in our day and time. Opposition, we looked at as an opportunity. I'm gonna get more money than him, right? If we had some beef, we do what we need to do. We 9 times out of 10 we might have struck up a fair one. If it got real goofy and crazy, then it was about some money, and then we handled our business the way we need to handle our business. I ain't gonna hold y'all and say that myself, Nasheed, and Stop was some guys that was beyond reproach.
Yeah, we ain't had no halos over our heads, man.
Dudes.
Nowhere near.
No, we wasn't them dudes, right? So that's why I know what I'm looking at, right? And what I'm seeing is these young men and young women, let's not leave the women out of this. These young men and young women in our communities now, their mind is clouded by the media, the portrayal of these things that are supposed to be deemed cool or the it thing to do or whatever it may be. By taking these intoxicants and listening to this music that's perpetuating the violence that they're going out now. Like life is really imitating what is art. Now we had some guys. Now listen, when we was coming up, we had guys that would talk that stuff on a record, but they really wasn't about that work. You follow what I'm saying? They.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, right? That's part of the problem too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stemmed back that far because they probably saying, well, why not? This is what the pace y'all set. Y'all was rapping it and not doing it, so y'all was promoting it. Now it then regressed. So the evil progressed into a point now where the guy that's doing it is the guy that's actually rapping it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I always try to say that some of our era, I want to take partial blame.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because we was promoting a lot of crap at some point.
And some of these children was addicted to crack because what was going on in during our era because we was the hustlers.
Yep.
So
you're right, man.
So this is the purpose of this platform, because we can highlight what these problems are take ownership and accountability for the part that we played as thugs, as G's, as coming from the streets and being a part of that life. Take accountability, but also now bring about what we should be is agents of change.
Yup.
We changed the way that they looked at things and see things as we was growing up. Now we need to help them change their minds to things. See, here's the thing, right? Staff, how old are you, Staff?
50.
Staff is 50. So check this out. We were born in the 70s, raised in the 80s. The 90s groomed us. We made it to 2022. So that's 5 different decades, 2 different centuries, and 2 different millennia that we lived in. So it's really nothing that we haven't seen. But we also need to take responsibility for the things that we've done in society. And now we need to be addressing what it is that we help perpetuate.
Yup.
So here's the twist. Let me give you these numbers. And we're gonna talk about this. In Philadelphia, right, to date, this is just in 2022, and it might have raised, because I pulled this information yesterday. It might have raised between last night and today. 84 homicides in 2022, a 9% increase from 2021 from this day, right? Now listen, 2021 was already a record-setting year for homicides. 2021 was always a record-setting year for homicides, so we're already 9% over that in our communities, right? Gun victims or gun violence, 268 to date from January 1, 268 non-fatal shootings, 69 fatal shootings and victims since February 27th, 2022. Now, that's some staggering numbers. And now, if I look at the numbers now, and I tell you the races and the races and the vicinity of where all these things are taking place, you will be even more astonished, because our blacks have 251 of these shootings. 74%. Whites are at 31 with 91%. Hispanics have 52 shootings and they have 15%. Asians 3. Other than that, 0. So you guys tell me. Oh, I gotta bring she back up. So you guys tell me, right? And we look at the ages are between 18 and 30. They are 49% of the individuals who are committing these crimes. 49% between 18 and 30. Now, mind you, we're 74% of them are black. So y'all tell me, y'all hear these numbers, right? It's evident that there is a gun violence issue in our community.
Of course.
It's
But see, can I say something?
Go great, She.
It's bigger. Well, it's bigger than that, yo. I'm gonna tell you something, man. The issue itself is not the gun violence. It's the melting pot of different personalities and plagues that leads to it, that leads to this mindset. And we just touched on a few of them, the drugs, the music, but I want to touch on another joint, right? Because this is a major joint that I believe is being swept under the rug. Mental health.
Whoa. Come on, give me something about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
I believe, right? Just common sense wise, of people, because I have Native American in me and stuff, right? Of people that's been through centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries, right, of some major turmoil, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, right? Common sense wise going to tell you that some mental health is going to come out of this. So a majority of our people, whether they admit it, embrace it, even recognize it, have mental health issues, man. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I'm going to keep it a beam with you, man. And what's happening is no help, or like I said, they not focused in. It's so far gone that they're not even focusing in on that joint. So what people are going about doing is trying to medicate it with the drugs, right? So you got a bunch of youth running around, getting high, listening to goofy music, carrying big weapons, right? Is a recipe for disaster, man. Right? Then, like with Staff, I'm gonna keep going here. We gotta focus in on that monster that's hiding behind the whole play. Because
expose that monster for me, She. Expose that monster for me real quick. Go ahead, expose it.
The monster, I believe, and I don't want to get too political, right? But I'll just say the powers that be, right?
Hey, check this out, She. This is my podcast. We keep it a G. You can say what you want on this joint. You hear me?
I get it. But you know what I mean? You still want to be somewhat diplomatic.
Okay, I got you. Go, let's go.
You know what I mean? For the longevity. So I'm going to say the powers that be.
All right.
We all know what we talking about. The powers that be, right?
Uh-huh.
I believe is part of the scheme. I almost know it's part of the scheme, but they try to Jedi mind trick us when we catch on. That is a conspiracy theory, right? But I'm not slow by a long shot. And it's not theoretical what I'm talking about. It can be a conspiracy, but it's not theoretical. I can back it up with tangible stuff. How's all these 15, 16, 17-year-olds getting FNNs and AKs and SKs and scopes and beams and vests? How the hell is they getting them? Who flooding our inner city streets with that stuff, yo?
So let me interject real quick, She, and then we'll hear Staff weigh in. So here's the thing. I hear you, and one of the things that popped out to me when you said that was, you know, how are they getting them? Where are they getting these guns from? Right? They are finding means and ways to obtain these weapons, but the bigger machine is that it's still being perpetuated in what they're hearing and what they're seeing. So the powers that be are hitting our youth from all angles.
Right.
The hottest rappers out right now, what they're not perpetuating dance music, feel good music, they perpetuating drill music.
Right.
They're perpetuating drill music or this extravagant lifestyle that everybody is seeking to have. But in order to have that extravagant lifestyle, you got to eliminate your op. You have to be a gun. You gotta have on skinny jeans with an FNN. I don't know how that works. I I don't know how that works. I don't know how they run. Listen, we used to have to run from the police. So I'm trying to figure out how you running with a big ass gun on your hip with them skinny ass jeans on. But nevertheless, I digress. I don't want to keep going there. But here, what I'm saying is the powers that be are hitting our youth from all sides. Right? So they're hearing it, they're seeing it. Now, here's the guns in the neighborhood. Right? The guns in the neighborhood. It's no secret, right?
They flooded.
I got a 30-year-old son, right? I got a 30-year-old son. My son is licensed to carry. So one day I drove him up to one of the gun stores to pick up a piece that he was purchasing. And he's totally legal and everything. And when he went in, it was a young man in there that had bought. Listen to what I'm saying to you. He bought, over the last 4 months, he purchased almost 100 guns.
See what I'm saying?
Listen to what I'm saying to you. When he was in there,
they know they put them guns on the street, man.
Listen, the ATF was there, and they stopped the young man when he went to go purchase his next gun or pick up his next thing, and they said, listen, it's not illegal for you to have that many guns, but what we're going to need for you to do is take me and show me every last one that you purchased. And if you can't do that, it's almost 10 to 15 years for each and every one that you purchased that you don't have in your possession. So you have these cliques and you have these groups that will find it might be an L7, or maybe not. He may be down and just not gotten in any trouble. And
that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna tell you something, man. It's easy to get a gun license these days. I was banned from getting a gun license way early in the game because of all my, all the work that was being put in was with them joints, and it was part of my sentencing and all that. Right now today, I would have to put up a real heavy fight to get a legal joint. You know what I'm saying?
It's ways we'll talk about that off camera.
But what I'm trying to say now is every other cat running around strapped. I'm talking about even the women. You know what I mean? We close to a purge, man. Don't even dig it, man.
You know what I want to say is that
Stop.
It's a microwave culture right now, and we got social media, and everybody want to be rich. Everybody want to be a millionaire. Everybody want to be a boss. Ain't no worker. Everybody, they want to be bosses overnight without putting no work in. It's mathematics, the equation of music, drugs, and then weapons. And it's just mathematics. It's like, all right, then, we take them off their square with the drugs. Then we're going to fill their head with this type of music. They all want to be rich. They all want to be tough. They all want something. Let's let them think that they can get that with this gun. You can take money. You can go ahead and take somebody out. You get some kind of street cred. There's a lot of little boys and girls and men and women bodies. They all searching for something. And they clicking up together because none of them know how to get it on their own. So now you got groups of little boys and little girls and men and women bodies that all want something. They all want to be better. They all want high self-esteem. And they believe that if they got the biggest, flyest gun, they got the fanciest jewelry, the drip, then that's what's going to make them the men and women. That's going to make them respectable. But see, they don't understand the flip side of that. When they dead, they get killed. And the only thing they left with is a all right, they on somebody's t-shirt.
Wow.
And they find out You know, they don't find out, but their family found out that their son or daughter gave their life for nothing.
Yup.
You get your name on a T-shirt. If you're real popping, you get a mural on the avenue. And that's what your life.
But you leave a legacy
18,
of
21
evil
years.
behind.
You leave a legacy of evil, and that's what your kids is gonna come up. Yo, your pop was a shooter. Your pop killed that boy over there. He killed that boy over there. He killed that boy over there.
That's sad.
But he didn't even have life insurance. He didn't even have life insurance. So the son, all he got to go on is his pop reputation for being a killer. And what you were talking about, mental health, pressure bust pipes. So that pain got to go somewhere. So now you got Johnny growing up with all that pressure up in him because his pop got killed. Everybody can't be a rapper like Meek Mill and get that pressure out with the rap music, with the voice and the music. Some people just keep that pressure in so much that they snap mentally.
Yup.
And then when somebody put a burner in his hand, then he on go mode. He ready to go. And he don't really know why he on go mode. He might not even realize that until he doing a nice long bid in prison.
Yup.
Or he doing something with his homies, and one of his homies right on him. Take the stand on him. Now he really messed up. Damn, I was calling these boys my brothers. I would have killed somebody for him. I would have murdered. If somebody told me, yo, murder, somebody trying to hit your man, get him. I'd have got him. That's how they thinking. Now they all messed up in the head because that same boy you'd have killed somebody for is telling on you on the stand and pointing you out in court.
Ain't that
He
crazy?
the one. He the one gave me the idea. See what I'm saying?
Yup.
Check this out. So we're coming up to on the end of this, right? So let's sum this up. Because one of the things I like to do is I also like to add some. We could point out the issue, right? We could point out the issue. You both have made some great points and talk about mental health, talking about the lack of education when it comes to the things out in the streets and the big machine, right? So what do you think as a collective, as guys that have been, let's keep it honest, right? I'm keep it honest, that have been victims of gun violence, because I've been shot, right? Stop has been shot, right? I don't think she been shot, right? But we've been those guys behind that thing, behind that trigger, right? So my message, and I'm gonna give you guys a couple seconds to give your message also to the youth of where we should be going. My number one thing is I want to look at, number one, looking at what it is that I can do in the community, right? In our prospective communities, because one thing she brought up is these young folks some of them are really, really hard to reach, and you really got to be 10 toes down and be able to stand on business when you out there talking to these young jokers, because some of them, they don't have no respect for those.
They only respect a certain cut dude.
Right. So
you know what I mean?
Some of them you won't even waste your time. I'm a firm believer in the 33 and the third rule. Here 33 and the third rule. Here's how I'm gonna give it to you. 33 and a third of people out there in the streets are gonna make it because it's their time to make it. 33 and a third of the people are gonna make it with a little push, right? With a little push, with some help, with some being able to take some G from the OGs, being able to take some gain from the people that lived it. I said we lived these decades. We lived 5 decades. We was raised in the height of that stuff in the 80s and the 90s. And then we made it to 2022, so we know what we're talking about. Some of them are gonna get it with a little push. And then 33 and a third of the people, guess what, guys? They're not gonna make it. They're gonna wake up and be disappointed because they didn't wake up. Right? Because they stood on business out there in the streets, and that's the business they stand on. So giving these young people a solution or a platform to express that anger, like Stop said, everyone can't be Meek Mills. Everyone can't be a little baby and say I'm getting rich off pain because he's able to express it in that manner out there, with the lyrics. Everybody can't do that. So what do we do as a collective, as guys that come from the streets, to reach that 33 and a third that's going to make it?
I want to say this.
That's going to make it with some help. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The 33 and a third that's going to make it with some help. You first got to channel in on who they are, and each one of them is going to be case by case, because depending on their response, first of all, is it any kind of open communication? Is it somebody that's close to you, your young boy, your nephew, your son's homie, you're this, you're that, you feel me? Somebody that you could get next to. The second thing is, once you get next to them, you gotta evaluate. You know what I mean? You gotta smell around, see what's going on with them. The third thing is, once you peep game and you see that, you're gonna see two things: whether this guy is susceptible to the game you great giving, or he the kind of cat that, like I said, I don't care for it, right? All those layers you gotta cut through before you even start giving them game. You feel me?
Absolutely.
So once you assess that data 33 and a third that can make it with some help, then boom, then you gotta give them the jewels. Now you burdened with that. You gotta give them the game if they susceptible to it, if they open for it. That's my solution in general. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And I got living proof that the youngin' I was gonna bring on here that got busy, he 35. I raised him since he was 10, 11. I talked to my other young buck on the phone last night. I don't know if I told you, Tiffy called me.
Right.
From the Sidgen. We talked last night for about an hour. I raised him. You understand where I'm coming from?
Right.
So, but what I'm saying is, it's plenty generations down that's not our young boys. And we make the mistake of claiming them as young boys when they not even in our circumference, man.
Right.
It's a big gap. My young boys is them niggas old heads.
True.
You feel me?
That
so the joint be like this. I make sure they make sure they stay put with me, and I make sure they still fortified with the game, and they be the ones passing off. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely.
Because at some point, that's what I'm saying, the little niggas stop listening to guys like us.
Right.
But they're still listening to him because he's still running around with the jewelry and the nice car. He the nigga that's taking you to the studio. He might own the studio that you're rapping in. He didn't, you know what I mean? They still got some kind of respect and regard for them because they still influence to the culture in some way, form, shape, form, or fashion.
Right.
So I play through them channels right there, man. Unless it's somebody right next to me, like I said, a relative or son or son's friend, then I dig in their head straight there. And the bottom line, what I'm saying is that we gotta give them the game, but they gotta be open for it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So one thing, and then I'm gonna defer to staff, right, and then we're gonna close out. But one thing that I really want to say, that this is the section of a segment where this is Real G Talk, right? And on Real G Talk, guys, we talk about motivation, elevation. We come from humble beginnings, and we talk about abundance never ending. And one of the things that I want to highlight is that, guess what? Today, the G stands for growth. what we need from our youth is growth. But in order to reach the youth, just like Nasheed just stated, in order to reach the youth, we have to reach those that are connected to the youth. If you're not connected to those young individuals out there, don't go out there trying to give them game, because they're not going to try to hear it when you're our age. Oh, hey, you's a has-been. That's in your day and time. Not understanding that my dad told me when we was young, right, and we was running around crazy, you know, when he pulled me to the side and said one day,
What?
and I thought it was just plain, but he said, man, ain't nothing new under the sun. The same things that you're doing, we did. Y'all got box haircuts. We had afros, right? Things change. Y'all running around in wolf packs. We had gang wars. They used to. Now you know, we come from the era where our parents, our uncles, and everything. They was in real like gangs when they was making zip guns and things
My
like
pop
that.
was in the valley.
Zip gun.
My pop was from the valley.
My dad was
Right.
from the valley. So everybody people from the valley. You hear me? So we understand that mentality. So I knew what it was when he was saying to me after I got older, and I'm looking, I'm like, man, these young bucks don't understand that it's really nothing new under the sun. The only thing that's changing is the amount of time that you're gonna get for what you're about to do. And you're gonna die a little bit quicker, because they lived a little bit longer back then. See, my pop went through all that stuff and he's still around. You see what I'm saying? Some of our family members are still around and they survived all those things. And we're still around and we survived all those decades that I just previously talked about. So being able to get the youth to understand, like, hey, listen, man, ain't nothing new under the sun. I got some game to give you. But that's the jewel that you jumped to, the gems that you jumped off. The G stands for gem right now. The gem that you dropped, she was this. I want to stay connected to the people that's connected to them. Give them the G stands for game. Give them the game, the real game, and let them keep conveying it to them. So listen, and he might have a little goofy young boy that ain't gonna listen, not even listen to him, because some of them like that.
I've been playing through this channel for the longest, man.
That's how you got to do it.
That's the channel I play through. I'm just giving y'all what I already experienced and see the work sometimes.
Right.
It don't work all the time, but you never gonna. It's never been in history that you turn a whole group of people around.
No, it's not
by ratio.
No.
But that's not the concern. The concern is to save who you can from out that water from drowning, man.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Hey, you know what? Can I say something?
Go ahead,
what I wanted to say is that my motivation for the youth, what they could do for success, is a little humility to take you a long way. Another thing, separate in order to elevate. Figure who you want to be, and then get around those kind of people.
If you
have an idea,
real G.
If you have an idea on what you want to be or what you want to become, and you look around and you're not around those type of people, then you need to find those kind of people, because that's how you're going to be successful, because you are who you hang with.
Whoa.
Stop. I'm going to end it with that, and I'm going to drop the. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard real G talk from 3 G's. And that G doesn't necessarily have to stand for gangster, like I explained in our first episode, right? The last thing that Stop said really resonated with me, because I was told this by who Nasheed knows is Abdul Rakib.
Yep.
Abdul Rakib, one day I was outside the masjid and I was conversing with some gentlemen, right? Some brothers that wasn't on what I was on religiously.
Right.
They were still, may Allah guide them. They still had their foots. They were still straddling the line. I'm going to say that.
Right.
Right? Abdul Rakib grabbed me by my arm. He pulled me to the side and he said, if you can't change the people you with, change the people.
That's heavy, yo. Simple as that.
Ladies and gentlemen, and that was a G talking to me. That was a real. I mean, what if for those that know Abdul Hakim, you already know he was a G.
Yes, sir.
He was a real G. And he became a G in a religion and someone that each and every person in our surroundings look to for sound advice and wisdom.
Right.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard today from 3 Gs, and we gave up gems, we gave up game, and we kept it gully. We kept it honest with you. And now it's up to each and every one of us to relay this message to our youth that we would love to see them grow old, become our age, have grandchildren, and sitting around. What's gangster? What's gangster is me being 90 plus, laying in my bed with all my grandchildren surrounding me, my great-grandchildren, my great-great-grandchildren surrounding me. As Allah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses to call me. That's what's G. That's one of my grandgirls calling me now. That's what's G, right? What's not G, guys, is all of the killing and things that's going on.
It's G. It's goofy
in our communities, ladies and gentlemen.
It's G. It's goofy.
That G is definitely goofy. That is the goofy G. That G is definitely for goofy. So cut out all the goofy stuff, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you same time next week on Real G Talk. I want to thank my 2 guests, Mustafa for 100X, Brian Harrison, author of the book Money is God.
I gotta get that book, Staff.
Author of the book Money is God.
I'll send you one.
Yeah, I'm gonna get plugged in with you through Abdullah.
Yeah, because we go all continue to big each other up and support one another in our endeavors.
Yes, sir.
Also, I want to give a huge shout out to my man Robbie Khan, who couldn't get on. He had some technical difficulties. He's the other half with Nasheed of To The Point 267 podcast on IG. Go and like and subscribe. Subscribe to Ball Boss Media. Get the book, guys. We want to keep supporting and bigging up and elevating each other because that's how we're going to reach.
We really honestly need these platforms.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So everybody got to understand the need, the hudja, and everybody, we got to support each other, man.
So I'm going to sign off, guys, and I'm going to say that it's been a pleasure. I want to thank each and every one of you. And I
appreciate it.
I see each and every one of you next week, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Go and follow me at Real G Talk 215 on IG and on Facebook at Real G Talk page. Go ahead and like the page, guys, and I'll talk to y'all next week. That's Real G Talk signing off, guys. We out.